Good morning, students. So far we had been discussing about the structure of the atom, and the structure of atom had been described by John Dalton. He said that atoms are spherical in shape, atoms are not divisible, atoms of same matter are of same types, atom of different matters are of different types. And then there were drawbacks, and there were many contemporary theories which gave us an overall idea about how an atom looks like, and still there are so many discoveries going on related to this. About this we have also discussed earlier that how electron was discovered, how proton was discovered, and how neutron was discovered. Alright, so since it is a weekend, I am making this video in the weekend, so I think that if I make videos of one topic and after that if I make a topic of another topic, so that link of one topic with the other topic is not set. So what I have decided is to make a complete long video of the whole chapter, okay, by taking good time, and wherever I will find that yes there is less interrelation of the topic with the other one, there I can stop and I can make part wise video of it. So without talking anything other than this chapter, I'll quickly start. So stay tuned. The first is discovery of electron, discovery of proton, and discovery of neutron. So I'll again start assuming that you have not studied this and I have not taught it. Alright. Every time we start a topic or we try to revise, we should assume that we have not done it. Let us take the first topic, and I am putting a check mark on this box. Alright, see, this will show your progress. I am putting a tick mark on this box, and then I am discussing about discovery of electrons at first. Who discovered it? J.J. Thomson. How he discovered? He took a glass tube. He took a glass tube, and the glass tube was vacuumized so that it does not contain any other matter which can show its property. And one side, this electrode, which we call as cathode, because we connect it with negative terminal, positive terminal, negative terminal, positive terminal, negative terminal, positive terminal, and like that a number of cells were there to give high voltage. Okay, around 1000 volt. It was set to vacuumizer, so to vacuum. So this discharge tube was vacuumized. Then at the ends, high voltage was applied. On doing so, it was found that a beam of light traveled from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. A beam of light traveled from negative terminal to the positive terminal. So these beam of light were called as cathode rays. These cathode rays deviated towards positively charged plate. That means it shows that they are negatively charged particle. It deviated towards the pole of the magnet and towards north pole, so it was having magnetic property also. And when a rotating paddle was put on the path of it, it was rotating also, and it was casting its shadow also. It was casting its shadow also. So paddle rotated, it casted shadow, rays deviated towards positively charged plate and rays deviated in the magnetic field also. This shows, okay, this was the setup. This shows that these were the observations and these were the conclusions drawn, that cathode rays contains negatively charged particles, which J.J. Thomson named as electrons. These particles were named as electrons, and the property of electron, these properties were found out. The properties were that they were able to transfer its momentum, and that means it has particle nature. It was able to rotate the pedal, that means it has mass, it has velocity. Anything which has mass and velocity, definitely is a particle. So electrons had particle nature. It casted shadow, that means it had wave nature. It moved with the speed of light from one end to the other end. It deviated towards the positive plate, that means itself it is negatively charged particle. It deviated towards north pole of the magnet, that means it has a magnetic property also. Alright, in this way J.J. Thomson discovered electron. Protons were discovered by E. Goldstein using the same setup with some modification. Alright, so some modifications were done here. I'll just erase it because the setup was almost same. Alright, I can make it also once again. Discovery of protons. It was done such that, just like cathode rays, in case of proton, canal rays were at first found out. This was done by E. Goldstein. What he did, he modified the setup like this. He took discharge tube, he took perforated cathode, means cathode which had holes in it. Perforated cathode. This was connected with the negative terminal, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. Many such cells forming a battery with high voltage, and this side and the terminal was there. So this was negative terminal, this was positive terminal. So cathode rays traveled from cathode to the anode. Now, when this cathode ray was brought little towards the anode, keeping some space vacant towards the end, it was found that some rays also travelled from anode to cathode and passed through the canal. Some rays passed through the canal. And they gave a glow over here. These rays were called as anode rays. So the properties of these anode rays were that they deviated towards negatively charged plate. That means they are positively charged particles. They deviated towards south pole of the magnet. That means they have magnetic property. They also casted shadow and rotated the pedal. That means anode rays contain positively charged particle they too have particle and wave-like nature, because it was also able to rotate the paddle. Now electron and proton both were discovered. What about neutron? Okay, so in this way electron and proton was discovered, and these were also called as anode rays. Anode rays, it was consisted of proton. Protons are positively charged particles. Broadly, this is it. Now, discovery of neutrons. Neutrons were discovered by James Chadwick by bombarding alpha particle, that means helium 2 plus ion is also called as alpha particle, on beryllium film Be4 mass number 9. It was found that carbon isotope C612 was formed and a neutral particle was emitted. So these neutral particles were named as neutrons, and they were chargeless. It did not deviate towards any positive or negative plate, and it had mass. Mass of neutron was found much higher than that of the mass of the electron. That is why in atomic mass we consider some of the mass of proton and neutron, but we don't consider the mass of electron. We will try to tabulate the properties of electrons, protons and neutrons once. But before that, we will see how specific charge of electron was discovered. How do we know that electron has some value of charge? Determination of E by M ratio, that means charge by mass ratio. Charge by mass ratio. It is also called as specific charge. Means charge per unit mass of electron. In this, for doing this, J. Thomson, he himself did it, and he modified certain experiments. He took the cathode ray tube, but on the other end, he took a circular screen. From here, he produced cathode rays and allowed it to form a glow on a fluorescent screen. It was a fluorescent screen. F-L-U-O-R-O-S-C-N-T. Fluorescent means glowing. Glowing screen. Now when the ray traveled straight, it gave a glow at point O. Then what he did? Using electrical plate or positive plate, he brought the charge to get deviated over here. And with negative plate, he could also get the charge deviated here. Now using a magnetic field, like it was positive and negative, similarly he applied magnetic field, okay, like he applied north pole and south pole using a horseshoe kind of a magnet. Okay, I'll just draw that. Like if I take a magnet like this, horseshoe kind of a magnet. So this will be north pole and this will be south pole. So due to the magnetic field also, what happened? The cathode ray got deviated over here. When the polarity or when the poles of the magnet was reversed, it was made south and it was made north. Then this ray was further brought here. Then he equated the force experienced by the electron due to electric field and magnetic field. The force experienced by the electrons due to electric field was Q into E. And the force experienced by the electron due to magnetic field was magnetic field intensity BeV. Now due to this magnetic field, it assumed a circular motion. So this could also be equated with centrifugal force mv square by r. So in this way, E by m ratio could be found out because BE was known from the electrostatic force of attraction. That means QE. This E is electric field and Q is the charge of the electron, or we can write Q as NE or simply E. So using this electrical energy experienced by the electron and the magnetic field related energy, it could be equal with mv square by r, which is centrifugal force. With this, experimentally E by m ratio was found out. If E by m is taken out, then E by m will be equal to V square by R B, and this V is the voltage. So these all are experimental value. This is also experimental value. From here to here, this distance is R. V square is nothing but the speed of light and that square of that. So in this way, E by m was found out, and the value of E by m is equal to 1.76, or you can write 1.758 820 into 10 to the power minus 19 11 coulomb per kg. 10 to the power 11 coulomb per kg. So these equations are not required to be known as of now. This you will learn more when you will learn about this chapter again in physics in class 12. Okay. This chapter will again come, atoms and nuclei. So F was the electrical force experienced due to the electric field E on the charge of the electron E, and the magnetic energy experienced by the electron in the magnetic field B, where a voltage of V was applied across, okay, the cathode and anode, was BeV. From here, E by m can be found out. So this derivation is not required. You have to only understand that by this experimental setup, this value was found out. Okay, initially only this much you have to know. So E by m ratio was found out. Now if by some way we can find out the value of E, then we can find out the value of m. So what I will do is I will write the value of E by m found out. Yes, it was equal to 1.758820 10 to the power 11 coulomb per kg. We'll keep it After that, determination of E was done by Mulliken's oil drop experiment. Determination of value of E, charge of one electron. Charge of one electron by Mulliken's oil drop experiment. He took a glass box and then he took one atomizer. Atomizer is just like a spray gun which gives out fine spray of any liquid. Okay, so he took some vegetable oil and there was a plate which had a tiny pore in it, a very small tiny pore in it. These oil particles were irradiated with X-ray. X-ray is nothing but type of cathode ray, or it is also like cathode ray. X-ray is prepared from cathode ray itself by bombarding cathode ray on nickel crystal. When cathode ray is bombarded on nickel crystal, X-ray comes out. Now, these were negatively charged particles. It started falling from this hole, and Mulliken observed it using a telescope. Okay, he observed it. A telescope was fitted here, and observation was done. Now there were some control measures also. These particles were negatively charged particles and they were allowed to fall under their own gravitational force, mg. No sooner this particle was about to touch this plate was converted to a negatively charged plate and this was converted to a positively charged plate. So when this particle was about to touch this negatively charged plate, then this negatively charged particles experienced repulsion from negatively charged plate. As a result, it again went up. From here it was coming down due to gravity and it went up. So what force was experienced by it? So electrostatic force is given by electrostatic. Static means charge at rest. Electrostatic force experienced by electron was equal to whatever electric field was applied, E multiplied by the charge, where E is electric field. Okay. Now, since the particle traveled equal distance from top to bottom and bottom to top, so we can say that E multiplied by, means charge of one particle multiplied by electric field, is equal to m into g. Now mass of these drops of particles were found out, but this E was not actually E because it was not one particle and this was not the mass of one electron. So this E was actually n q. Q is equal to Ne, and it is better to write Q over here as charge of the oil drop, where Q is charge of oil drop and N is equal to number of drops, or number of drops in a, or number of droplets in a drop. Number of droplets in a drop. Now, if we do one experiment in which we allow a few drops to fall in a beaker and we count say 100 drops, say 100 drops we have counted, and if say 100 drops weigh together as 10 gram. Okay, if 100 drops are equal to 10 gram, then one drop will be equal to how much? 10 by 100, 0.1 gram. That means one drop of oil is equal to 0.1 gram. In this way, by calibrating, it was found out that what is the weight of that one drop. That weight of one drop was taken as m. Okay, this was the mass of one drop. And that weight which comes out, which was found out by this observation, was put as mg. Now when we know mg, that means equal to W is equal to the weight of one drop. When we know the electric field, then we can find out the value of Q. So Q for first experiment will be equal to E by mg or m1g. It will be equal to E by say W1. Similarly, Q2 will be equal to E by W2. In this way, n number of Q's can be found out. After finding out n number of Q's, we can find out the common factor. The common factor of all the charges. The common factor of all the charges were found out to be the fundamental value. Fundamental value E is equal to Q by N equal to 1.6 10 to the power minus 19 Coulomb. In this way it was found out statistically and with experiment. So two things we have got now. We have got E by M value by J. Thomson's experiment. Now we have got the value of E. We have got the value of E. So E is equal to 1.6 10 to the power minus 19 Coulomb. Now when we have found out the value of E and value of E by M, so we can find out the value of M now. The value of M was found out like this. Can we write M will be equal to E by M, because it will be equal to E divided by E by M, or E multiplied by M by E. So if we divide the value of E with E by M, we will get the value of M. So we can put the value. E is 1.6 10 to the power minus 19 Coulomb and E by M is 1.758820 10 to the power 11 Coulomb per kg. Together, this value will come out to be 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 kg. This is the mass of electron. Now we will tabulate the properties of electron, proton and neutron, and after that only we can move forward for these atomic models. Alright, else again there will be a disconnect between this topic and this topic. So we will just tabulate whatever we have learned so far. Compare the properties of electron, proton and neutron. So we'll take the subatomic particles here. Subatomic particles. What are these? These are electrons, protons and neutrons. Here we'll take their charge. It is better to say absolute charge because charge of one particle we will take. Then we will take relative charge in terms of 1 unit. Relative charge then their mass and their relative mass in terms of unified mass. Its charge is minus 1.6 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Its charge is plus 1.6 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Its charge is 0. Relative charge will be minus 1, means divide any of these terms with each other, so it will become minus 1. Divide the same with each other, it will be minus 1 and this plus 1 and this will be equal to 0. That is how relative charge is found out. What is the ratio of this and this? Minus 1. What is the ratio of this and this? Plus 1. Now mass of electron we just found out, it was 9.1 10 to the power minus 31 kg. And mass of proton is 1.672 10 to the power minus 27 kg. 1.67 10 to the power minus 27 kg. So which is bigger? Mass of proton is bigger. And the mass of neutron also is the same. 1.67 10 to the power minus 27 kg. Now what is the relative mass? The relative mass is the mass of electron. If you compare this with this, it will be near to 0, 0.000, like that it will come. See, the order's difference. The order's difference is such that integral value will be 0 and after decimal also lots of 0 will come. Okay. Now if you compare this and this, then ratio of this with respect to this and ratio of this with respect to this will be equal to 1 and 1. And that is why mass number is always equal to number of proton plus number of neutron. Mass number, not mass. Mass number is equal to number of proton plus number of neutron. Whatever it is will be added. Okay. So this was all about electron, proton and neutron and its discovery. In our next class, we will be discussing about Thomson's model, Bohr's and Rutherford's atomic model. So this remains to be done in my next class. Thank you.